I'd like to call the meeting to order. So I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the.
You do, so moved.
Second. Moved in second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Oral petition. Communication report, monthly operating report summary for January 2022.
Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know. So we averaged 3.3 million a day, a little higher than normal, but not much over. 97% removal efficiencies for BOD and TSS. Nitrogen, we were 1 pound under for the month, which I'll just go into the graph now because we're on the operating report. This was the historical January for the past 5 years. January, February, March are typically hard months because it flows up and because the bugs don't want to do any work in the winter because it's cold and they're less active. So the tank is still working really well. As you can see, we went all the way down from almost 360, 250 and 19. And then even 19 and 20, the new plant was online. So the numbers they're really good. Hopefully they'll hold there. Phosphorus, we don't sample until April 1st. We go back online with UV, and our typical biosolids were 19.6%.
Let's see, get back to the lubricant.
Yep.
You actually expect that we can continue to improve that? Or what about?
I hate saying it on record, but yes. I would expect, I made this graph to kind of just show historically, even in the past 5 years, with the limit at 178 pounds, which is the red line, you can see we're still way over. 250 pounds would be almost 75 pounds over the limit. So we're way under where we used to be. So I think we can continue it. I think we could probably get under 100 pounds a month in the summer months once it warms up and you get more activity with the bugs. So like the whole year, 2021, we were under just by a little bit, but I think if we continue doing what we're doing with like the fermenting and all that, we can probably get 20, 30, 40, pounds under. Now, if we get a hurricane for a month, that's going to change the equation just because you're basically doubling your value just because of the flow.
Because of the volume.
Yep. But that's not saying that if we're under like we are these cold months, that it can't offset that. So I think we can substantially and consistently get it there. And we're trying to do it obviously naturally. There's some plants that they'll buy methanol and you'll spend $100,000 on methanol a year and you'll make 50,000 in credits and it looks great, but you're spending more on that to do it. So we're doing this with basically what we have coming into the plant, which is good.
Project update report.
Scroll down here. So Batterson Park Pump Station, we had to just clean it. We were getting some skewed readings on it. Everything was normal after that. We do have a spare if that one goes, and that station has an ultrasonic backup and float backup as well. Harlan Road Pump Station, we installed a new expansion tank. The bladder actually blew out in the old one. Oakland Pump Station, we pulled pump 2. The impeller had rags in it. We cleaned it and we're going to monitor it for any further problems. That station we're also should be getting a pump in a couple weeks, probably 3 or 4 weeks. Everything's just slow right now. Tungus Pump Station, we pulled pump 1. Rags were in that pump as well. That is going to be rebuilt at REM in Hartford, and we have all the parts on site, so there shouldn't be much cost to that at all. Pump station upgrades and collection.
Excuse me, one question on the rag, which is a typical problem.
Yep.
Whatever. Are there screens or anything that can be added around that?
So I just had this discussion today with the maintenance manager. So Tungsten is a pretty small station. You can get basically like a chopper pump. So it goes in the wet well And it turns on and they can set it like 15 minutes every hour, every 4 hours. And basically whatever's in there, like you could put a mop head, a 2x4, whatever's in the wet well, and it'll basically shred it. Yeah.
Macerator.
Yep. So it'll take care of anything. It's probably 30 grand. So, and a new pump at Tungus is like 6 because they're small. So we've kind of gone back and forth with that. One of the pumps at Tungus, we just ran the serial number to get all the parts for it. And it was, I want to say 1974. And it's still in there.
It lasted that long.
It lasted that long. So
50 years.
a lot of they didn't even have wear rings on pumps then. So it just went into the impeller and destroyed it and they get pumped through. Now they have wear rings. So I don't think with the new ones we'll have these issues. I mean, they're not huge issues anyways, because Tungus can run on one pump all the time. But we're hoping with the new pumps that we won't have as many clogs. It's just everything is so worn out and the clearances are so gone that nothing's cutting at all, basically. It's just getting stuck. I think when the guys pulled it last week, it was literally like a single wipe got stuck in the impeller and it shut like a 15 horsepower pump down, which should never happen at that
Yeah.
point. So it's just worn out, but the one was rebuilt and we're getting the other one done now. So to answer your question, yeah, we did look at it. I don't know if it's cost effective. I'd probably spend
I'm
30.
not talking necessarily that
Yeah,
one plant and one.
like in general.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, you can. We actually sent out like more flyers too. We put on the town website. But if I told you some of the stuff that we found in the wet wells, you'd be shocked.
Yeah, let's hear some of the more interesting.
Besides the dead body.
After the meeting, I'll tell you
All
so.
right, after the meeting.
Yeah,
I have a report to make next week. I want to make it good.
it will be
Where is the
interesting.
Tungus pump station?
If you go down right before Devon, you take a
Yeah.
left into the condominiums. I forget the actual number of the condominium it's off.
Okay, but
it's in there.
Actually
Yep.
located in with the.
It's in there, correct. It's actually right in the back. They have like a dog park in the back.
Mhm.
And then the golf course is right there. It's right on the backside there. So, yeah, it's not big, but it does what it needs to do. So yeah, I mean, there's other things we could do. We try to like tell the public what you can and can't really put down.
It's
Sometimes,
amazing how they get it down. That's,
well, after the meeting, I'll say, it's like, I don't know how they get it down, but
right,
they
yeah,
do.
that's.
It's almost like somebody goes out, opens it up and just drops it in the wet well, because I couldn't fit it in. I don't understand, but so yeah, I mean, other than like the big removal we have in the headworks of the plant, like at the stations, it's hard, you know. So, but we can certainly look at more. Throughout the month of January, we started smoke testing. We did Woodside Drive, Meadowside Drive, Great Oak Lane. We did one other one this week. We haven't found too much yet, which is good. But we were scheduled throughout the whole month of February.
If you could just, for the new
Yep.
guys, tell them what the purpose of the smoke. test
So
is.
basically, if you have any gutters hooked up, any sump pumps, second they put it down, you start getting calls, or the fire department calls me because some lady has smoke coming out her drains or her gutters and she thinks her house is on fire. So we send out flyers to tell them what we're doing. They understand it ahead of time. But back in the day, they used to connect everything to the sewer. I believe actually Tungus still has gutters and stuff connected to. So we're trying to just isolate the areas because you still pay to treat it, even though it's rainwater. So we're just trying to kind of minimize that. So when you put the smoke down, it comes out any area that shouldn't be connected. And then we're scheduled throughout February for that. And then we're just going to continue going through the problem areas. We changed, cleaned the oil filters, waxed the vac truck, and that was just winter maintenance because we started taking it out in April once it warms up. We try to take it out over the winter, but if it's under 32, the back tank will freeze. So it's unless it's an emergency, we usually keep it inside. We continue to clear right-of-ways, and we jetted Berkshire Drive and Robin Road, which is up by Batterson Park Pump Station. We work together with Highway cleaning storm drains and using sewer camera to identify problem areas. Repairs and maintenance at the plant. We finished dismantling the dewatering feed pump. I know I said this in December, I said it in January, but it keeps getting backed up just because of the actual inflation and there's just nothing in stock. So we're waiting on this pump. It's supposed to ship out this Friday. So hopefully next meeting, I won't say it's still coming, it'll be in by then. That's going to help us with the dewatering. So we'll be able to basically increase 200% on the actual gallons. So that'll help with some overtime costs, and it'll also help with the capacity of the system as a whole. We cleaned and flushed the effluent strainer in the RAS basement. We pulled sludge transfer pump 1 to clean the lobes and check the clearances. We're also going to order gear reducers for those just to give them a little more torque on startup.
What pump were you saying we'd eventually have to replace there?
So the Swabi pumps, we have 12 total. So the primary pumps, we went from a 5 to 7.5 horsepower motor. I think the majority of the Swabis will probably end up being replaced. I don't think it'll be all at once, obviously, because we're only running 2 primaries. So 2 of the Swabis aren't running. We only use 1 waste pump. And then in the dewatering building that we're discussing now, we're only running 2 out of 6 a day. So 1 by 1, we'll probably just replace them as they go. But these were the pumps where the maintenance for 2 years was 17,000 and the pump was 24. So if it was, I mean, by the time the pump is 5 years old, you bought it almost 1.5 times. And we had issues with them from startup. So most of the Swabis are the ones we'll probably replace. But the gear reducers are helping. So instead of spending the money on a new pump, if we can do it with more torque for $1,200 on a gear reducer, that's what we're leaning towards. I mean, it's no different than putting like a 410 in the rear end of a car. You're just giving it more torque on a startup. We had a fault in the Headworks building, odor control. We had the motor sent out. We had a short circuit in it, so we're just waiting to hear back from Aparo and Southington. They rewind the motors, they'll do stators, pretty much anything we need. Cleared and flushed grip pump 2. We had a new gasket made. We had some condensation in the oil, which we're guessing is the wastewater never gets under 50 degrees, and the top of the gearbox is sitting on the roof. So it's probably 10 or 0 on the cold days. So you're getting a lot of moisture on there. So we're just trying to tighten everything up in there. And we cleaned out the solenoids on the Muffin Monster, which is basically the cutter. And I discussed the nitrogen report already. So that should be it for the engineering report.
Now this, the note on the Avon, was that done this month or was that?
This is an old one. I just left it on so they know we calibrated them. And actually, I can update this. We've been going out at least once a month, meeting Tim Foster out there and just making sure there's nothing, no residue on the bottom of it. There's nothing flooded in the valve vault. So we've been testing it every month and just double checking it's all set, and they meet us out there. So it's an agreement that works a little bit. So there's no issues with if it's being maintained.
Got the plan reviews.
We had 2 fees collected, the building permits for Whitetail Run, West District Road, repair of existing sewer lateral, and zone charge collected with sewer permit. This was the old one that we had done from May 2019. And that was for South Road.
You said we did it and.
I had it, I think this was the one that I had re-signed, that we put under that because they didn't take the actual PDF. They needed the hard copy of it, so.
And we got the budget or the legal notice, whichever,
Yeah, we can do a legal notice. So last month we discussed either 1% or a 0% increase, so no current increase. And we're pretty conservative on all our fees, so 0% would be no issue for us. So that's what we're going to go with. And is there any questions on that or the budget overall? Oh, so I told Jim, I corrected it on here already. Let me just scroll down. So originally when we were going to do the 1%, or we were thinking about it, it would have been 326 and 282 for the commercial rate users, but we didn't do the 0. So on your sheets, instead of 282, it's 278. So
That's the actual number, is the 270.
it's 278, yep, and that was my mistake. But I corrected it on here, and
Which is the current number.
Yep, 278, and it's 321, so that one was correct.
Right.
So just that minor edit, everything else is correct. So unless there's any questions on that,
Okay, so we'll have the public hearing and then approve and sign the legal notice.
yeah, now I think Peter signed this, I think in February last year, am I incorrect on that, or
I think it's in March.
did he? I know we go out, because I put
Yeah, because. we
contact the
voted on
Hartford
it.
Current for
Right.
Thursday, February 7th, so a week, so we can do it after the meeting. All right, so we'll sign this March then next month,
Yeah, because the public hearing is.
in March, correct. All right, so
So we're here and then
Yep.
Jim signs.
we should be good then.
We just, yeah, we're gonna change those dates on that, yeah.
Yeah, because this was, let me just grab the old one real quick, just to triple check.
So, what project are you working on these days?
Me?
Yeah.
Right now, for my job, I'm doing mostly motor controllers,
Water control, yeah.
for all the pumps he's talking about.
Yeah.
I make the things that run,
Okay,
tell you when they're breaking.
so you're actually on the design side?
Yeah, I'm a principal electrical engineer,
Okay,
so I design all that stuff,
all right.
and the computer that runs it, and all the software. And all that stuff.
So you don't work for the manufacturer,
I am the manufacturer.
you are the manufacturer? And they actually have a fabrication, you make them in Connecticut,
Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania?
design here, they make them in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
We had this one last year, we had this dated February 10th. There wasn't a date for Peter to sign it, but it was published the 18th, so these dates were the same as this one. So we did go through this in February.
And what would a public hearing look like with no increase?
Well, yes, you have to go through the. motion.
Yeah, we have to do it anyways, but
You have to
probably
Approve.
nothing.
Same as
Probably
it
just
looks.
going through the motion.
Yeah,
Same as it looks
because
like,
it's technicality.
limited increase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a cause, you could say should be $300.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody could ask and bring it up.
Just go over with Russ, get the dates right.
I'll double check, and if we have to sign it, we can sign it either way, but I think it's March as well. I know, like I said, I remember doing this one last year before Peter signed it. And it might just be, these were the dates to say when we went out to actually publish in the Current, that's why we have February now.
Right.
Correct, and then he signs it in March,
Then he
which
signs it in March as it being.
I think, so I think we're good. All right, so any questions on the budget or anything else?
Let's see, so what, is this basically from the last month, the budget sheets?
Yeah, these are the same as last month, yep. Like I said, we're really conservative on the actual projected rate increases, so there's plenty of room for the 0%. I could probably cut more off on some nitrogen costs and chemicals too, so we should be more than enough.
I won't play around with that yet until we get another.
No, I
year.
don't want to, I just,
Until we get another
I
year.
think
under our belt.
we're good, but there's some play if we need it.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so under new business here, item 2, we want to set the public hearing for the 2022-2023 budget assessment for the March 9th. meeting.
So you just need a motion to set it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
your motion to set the budget for the March 9th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
I,
That's Carried.
A lot of people know that there's a public hearing for this on March 9th.
So we actually publish it.
In the Hartford Current.
Just the current, that's it.
That's historically, this is only the second time I've done it, but it's always been the current.
It's probably also on the town's website. If you
Yeah, it's on the website as well. So that's why we have to put it for the date in February, then,
Because legally you gotta put it in. the newspaper,
Correct.
right?
Yes,
Should this be something that gets like announced? One of the other town communication mechanisms?
I mean, yeah, we could, I don't see an issue with it.
Again, I know that's the only way I get anything. from
Yeah.
town and anything that's going on.
Okay.
Well,
Because I
yeah.
sign up for that, for all the other things that go on, it's nice to know, because I certainly don't read the current,
Yep.
and I'm not looking at the town website to see what's going on.
Okay.
but I think traditionally, or whatever, I mean, to meet the letter of the law, you know, it's published.
It's gotta go
It
out
has
in
to
the
be published
paper.
in the newspaper.
In the newspaper, yeah. And I don't recall, I think we maybe 1 year somebody came in. But there's nothing to complain about, a 0% increase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, any,
Because they haven't had an increase here in 5 years, I think, 6 years, it's been, and that was with the upgrade too,
so
so,
it's been a while.
yeah.
okay, any unfinished business? None, any other business? None, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Adjourned. So moved.
Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, good.